Are you tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasevich.
Welcome everyone to Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing news talk show. This is episode 350 with myself and Sarah Monroe. And this week we're going to be joined by Valerie Morris. And I'm just going to bring on Sarah and we're going to kick things off because we've got a lot of social media news this week. So Sarah, it's great seeing you. How you doing?
I'm great. We have a lot of social media news of one platform doing what another platform does and one platform bringing in something that everybody's always had. So I wouldn't say it's a copycat news week, but there's certainly a lot of common themes across the platforms as we go along. So it's great to have Valerie join us today because Valerie is a digital marketing specialist. So she is well-versed in all of these platforms, working with her clients, having to know what's new, what's different. And she's also a keynote speaker, and she's founder of Tintero Creative, which is her marketing firm. So and we've got a few guests hopping on with the comments. I love to see that early in the morning.
Yeah. And by the way, I was going to say, Valerie is on episode 290 if you want to check that out. So I'm going to put that in the comments as well. But let's go bring on Valerie. Valerie, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me, guys. It's great to be
joining
back.
us again.
Yeah, thanks for hopping back on. We love it.
Yeah.
So we know it's a little early for you. It's a little early for us.
Yeah, the sun's still rising where I'm at.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
Yes, the sun rises on social media every day, right?
Well, you can always count on social media and the sun.
Social media, the sun, and social media changes too, right? So
yes.
that's one thing we always what's the phrase in North America? You can always count on death and taxes, right? You can always count on social media changing.
And it never sleeps.
And it never sleeps. You know, that's a really good point. I saw this morning a friend posted something and I did the math on the hours. I'm like, you were up posting at 2:58 in the morning.
So yeah, what are you doing up?
I know. So let's hop into the news.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So, when we talk, we're joking about this sunset and posting in the middle of the night. It really does lead into our first story, and that is that Instagram is bringing scheduling to the app. Yes, you heard it. Scheduling for Instagram Reels and posts are there's some internet sleuths, Alessandro Paluzzi had posted this, had seen in the advanced settings of posting that they were seeing a little bit of being able to schedule posts. So we've been able to schedule, if you remember, we've been able to schedule Instagram posts for a long time. They first released it in Creator Studio back in 2020. It's been part of third-party apps like Sprout Social and Agora Pulse and Hootsuite and all of those since then. And just last month, Instagram was allowing those third-party apps. They opened up the API so that third-party apps could schedule Reels. So I have been watching every single day for Creator Studio to have Reels scheduling. I can schedule videos, but can't schedule Reels yet. So this is, I'm really excited about this. When you really think about how social media platforms get their money, it's through revenue. Revenue is generated by companies placing ads, right? And those beleaguered social media managers need to sleep. And you can't really post things at 3 a.m. and still have a work-life balance, right? Unless you have teams across, you're a huge business, you have teams across the world that can actually do this during their regular working hours. So scheduling within the app, really important. We're also waiting for desktop publishing for Reels. You can publish Instagram post. Woo! Little slip there. Instagram posts can be posted from desktop, and of course through Creator Studio. So what do you two think about this? Scheduling an Instagram app.
Oh, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I will definitely take that opportunity. I mean, that's the whole ability to schedule things and work on Instagram stuff a little bit in advance.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a huge pain point for a lot of folks like me who are doing done for you work for other clients. I have to schedule 90% of the client content ahead of time in order to just stay sane every day. So I've been using Agora Pulse myself. A few years ago, I switched over to that after the platform that I was using actually, like, they lost their API access to Instagram. They got in trouble with the Meta company and had issues with posting to Instagram. And I was willing to tough it out for a couple months, but after a couple months and no sign of any resolution, I was like, I gotta switch to something that's going to allow me to use the scheduling feature again. So yeah, scheduling is a huge, huge opportunity. And I'm just noticing, just with technologies at large, Canva, even things like GoDaddy, they're making it a lot harder to log in and out of their different profiles. And if you're someone like me who's going in and out of client accounts day in and day out, if you have the ability to just like post straight from the Instagram account that you already have access to and schedule something directly there, that's a huge plus.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Christian, in our deck, I actually put in a couple of, if people haven't jumped into Creator Studio, if they don't want to have the expense of a third-party app, there is Creator Studio, and you can post different types of content. So this is my Creator Studio dashboard, and this is so the Facebook tab on it. So you can see that you can create a post. You can create a reel, you can add to your story, you can upload videos, multiple videos, go live. So, and you can also post video across different pages, all from Creator Studio. With Instagram right now, you just have the opportunity to post a regular image post or a video post. So there's only two options in that drop down in Creator Studio. But I found that Creator Studio is, yeah, it's quirky and it can be glitchy. I was joking with a friend lately. She said, I will never go back. It was just too glitchy from the beginning. And I said, it's a lot better now and it's a lot easier to use. And especially if you're moving big videos around. So you don't have to try to get it onto your phone and then bring it up to Instagram.
Yeah, we all remember that, right? Having to do something on a phone or do something on a computer and then send it back to ourselves. And at one time it was email. Now it's, I think, AirDrop. In some cases. Yeah.
I do it every week. Trying to get an Instagram reel off of my desktop, off my video editor on my desktop onto my phone so that I can post it.
It is interesting. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Instagram's always been the clunky one. They've always been the hardest one to work with. So I think any of these steps that they're taking are just going to make it a lot easier for creators to really dive 100% in.
Yeah. And I'd also say this. I mean, the other thing I would encourage people to do is get the right device as well. So for example, if you don't work so well on a smartphone, maybe you need to move to an iPad or some sort, maybe not a full computer, maybe work on an iPad, because I know the iPads are extremely powerful now, to be able to access some of those tools. If you find you work better with a pen, maybe your fingers versus a mouse, and vice versa, just find the right tool that works for you to help you create that content faster, and then tap into some of those scheduling features. So, Sarah, I think we also had a screenshot of, I think it was the Instagram side of Creator Studio.
Yeah, the Instagram side of Creator Studio. It's just two options. Right now, just Instagram feed and IG video. Remember that, I don't know if you two have seen the pop-ups, but I keep getting the pop-ups every time I try to post a video on Instagram, is that on the app anyway, it says that all IG video will now be all reels will be video and all video will be IG reels or something like that. So they are trying to merge all of the video into one thing. It's still, I think it's still in testing. I get the pop-up. It comes and goes. So I'm really not sure where it's going.
Yeah, and that is one thing to keep in mind. I mean, you talked about this earlier. If they roll out a new tool, it's not always going to have all the bells and whistles you want from the start. A lot of times they roll things out as a test. They roll it out, they get you using it, and then they start to either add features, move things around, and so forth. And so just again, if you have feedback for them, I mean, try and let them know that as well. They do send out Facebook or Meta, I guess you could say, sends out surveys a lot of times asking people to help participate in some of these things to help kind of guide and shape the build out of that product. So
you must be on a special list, Christian, because I get these tools. I never get a poll. Hey,
no, I get the polls. I don't get the tools.
I get the tools. I have to say, I'm loving feeds. Facebook feeds, love them. Absolutely. 100%. Thank you, Meta, for that. Please do it for Instagram.
Very cool. And and we talked about that feeds feature that Sarah's referencing. We talked about that last week. Sorry, week before, actually. It was how to use the new Facebook feeds tab and the home side as well. It was a really good post that we put out there, but you can check that out. I'll put that in the comments. So Sarah, turning things over to you.
Yeah, let's jump back into the news. So YouTube, here's the portion of the show where we're going to say this platform now looks like that platform, and that platform now looks like this platform. So YouTube is launching a way to reply to comments from a video on demand in Shorts. So what they're doing is they're creating stickers, comment stickers. So those of us who've been on all the other platforms know about comment stickers. In fact, these two are from TikTok and Instagram. There isn't actually a demo image that YouTube has released yet to show us what the comment stickers are going to look like, but these are from the other platforms. So YouTube Shorts, this is a way for YouTube creators to take something that's been commented on one of their longer form videos, their video on demands, or their VODs, as they like to call them in YouTube speak, and create a short and have that comment be a sticker. So we've seen this on many other platforms, right? Even if people are taking screenshots, they've been using this, using it in YouTube too for a long time, using screenshots to reply to comments from their viewers. So there's another piece in this announcement too about how they're going to have more places mentioned in video. They're expanding the places mentioned in video that get auto tagged with Google Maps. So that's going to roll out to more industries. They are also they're testing some more metrics that are going to show up on your mobile device, which is great. That's what the screenshot is showing us right now. And then there's also going to be some editing features from the mobile app, so you can customize your URL and change your banner image and things like that when you're on the go. But this sticker in Shorts, it's really familiar. It's really familiar, isn't it?
Sarah, I got to say, when I initially saw that screenshot, I was like, that looks just like everyone else. But I also will say this, I think it makes a lot of sense from a YouTube perspective, because if I'm on YouTube, I'm there to watch video. I'm there to watch your shorts videos. I'm there to watch your longer form videos. And those stickers make so much sense there. So I personally don't care if YouTube copies that feature, because I think it's a very useful feature for them to have on the platform. I mean, people go to YouTube to watch video, and I know we're going to get to this topic, I think, later about picking platforms and things like that. But I like the direction that YouTube has been heading. I like they're giving us more insights as well. By the way, pay attention to your insights. Extremely important. They can tell you how long you need to make your episodes, or at least give you help you kind of narrow down that target a little bit. So Valerie, what do you think about these new features from YouTube?
I mean, gosh, yeah, you're right. Like, people are on YouTube to watch video, and the shorts are the way of the future in the world of social video. So if they can get people to interact more on those existing videos, it's the same thing of like a comment or engagement otherwise that we see on other platforms. anytime we get more engagement on that piece of content, the better.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we talk about the race between Instagram and TikTok and Meta and TikTok and Snapchat's doing this and what's LinkedIn doing over here and Twitter and Clubhouse and all these other things, right? YouTube is the beast. YouTube is the one that everybody should be chasing. They have 1.5 billion users engaging with shorts right now. And they didn't say if that was a weekly or monthly basis, but that's with a B, not with an M, right? When we're talking about all the other platforms, we're talking in the millions. YouTube talks in the billions.
Yeah. I mean, makes so much sense. I mean, we talk about, everybody's like, oh, TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you think about it, if you do your strategy, if you implement your strategy correctly, people are going to watch short content and then they're going to move into that longer form content and they're going to keep wanting to watch because it's engaging. It's interactive, it's keeping them on the platform. It's doing exactly what it needs to do, and getting rid of a lot of those distractions. For example, the, direct messaging or things like that. it's all about watching video. So,
well, and it's a search engine, right? Like it's not, first and foremost, it's not a social platform. So you have the ability for other people to discover your videos that aren't already engaged with you, and for them to see that there's this engagement that it's not just a video you uploaded and let sit. It's that, no, you are actually active as a YouTuber, as a video content creator. You actually care about the audience. If you can show that, I think it sets you apart from so many other people and brands out there that they're using YouTube as a repository to get their content up and just let it sit.
And the other thing I want to add real quick, and this is just kind of like a YouTube tip actually, and that would be to pick the words you use in your videos. Be very deliberate about what you say in your videos, because that is getting indexed by Google. It's then becoming, they're trying to figure out what you're talking about. And then if they can quickly figure that out, they're going to make chapters, for example, out of that in your videos. They're going to help surface the content because it's answering the specific question the viewer is searching for on Google or YouTube. So just be very, very, very deliberate about what you say in your video.
It's creepy. that piece about the maps, that happens automatically. If you mention a location in your video, that map link is going to be generated automatically. You have to turn it on and off in your settings. So right now it's I think it was just restaurants that was first, and now they're expanding to tourism sites and some other recreation sites and things like that. So YouTube is listening and generating these stickers and these map links, and even the chapter markers. When we upload a video now, Christian, we don't have to put in our chapter markers anymore. It automatically happens if your video is set not for kids. I will say, if you are creating content and you tag it that it is for kids, you won't have some of these features.
And also, in addition to that, again, that's edited, I think, so if you go into the actual video itself, there's an option to enable that feature. You can also, I think, set it globally as well across your YouTube channel. But again, very, very, very good features. I mean, so again, it's helping get you to the content faster. So,
right. And engage more. As Valerie said, YouTube hasn't really been the quote unquote social network like the others. And this is a way to get it there more. I'm seeing more and more posts for YouTube that's showing up, so that people can say, hey, in case you missed our video on Sunday, they can write a post about it and use a little screenshot in it. So it's a different part of the YouTube feed that can get more engagement too. If people miss the subscribed video when it first publishes. So anyway, moving on. Ready to move on?
Next social media platform. I think we have like the jackpot this week.
I know it's everybody. We're popping around through everybody. So Twitter. Let's go to Twitter. The edit button is actually coming. They have confirmed it. It is coming. You must be a Twitter Blue subscriber. And so if you are a Twitter Blue subscriber, you will get early access to the edit button. But remember, this has been on and off and on and off. If you're on Twitter Blue, you can also have it. There's an undo function, which is like a 30-second window where you can take back your tweet before anybody sees it. But this is a true edit button. It's going to be interesting to see how tweets that are edited will be tagged, because as we know, tweets really, the great thing about tweets is that they get sent out and they spread very quickly. So if someone edits after the fact, how do we know that those retweets, the people who originally tweeted out or retweeted, know that the content that they shared is now edited? So there's a lot of what ifs, how this is going to happen. One thing that we know for sure, you have to be subscribed to Twitter Blue. The other thing that we know for sure is that Twitter Blue is almost doubling their subscription rates as of this month. So they're going from $2.99 per month, which I thought was a great price point, to now $4.99. So the $5 a month subscription that everybody else has is going to be for Twitter Blue too. But we joke about this. I laugh about it too. But if only Social Media Today actually did the math, if only 1% of Twitter users sign up for Twitter Blue, that will create $11.9 million in monthly revenue for Twitter. So if 1% of users think that the edit button is worthwhile, then Twitter's going to make almost $2 million a month with that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So I did have a question. That was, I'm glad you gave out that price. Would people pay to get that edit button? I think that's my question. But apparently you've answered that,
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, Valerie? You happy for this feature, or would you just use hey, I'm going to delete the tweet and share it? What are you going to do?
I think with the right Twitter profile, it could be very helpful. And mainly just for things like spelling typos, like the clients that I work with, like that's a big deal for them. They really care if there's a typo or somebody's designation is off on something that's mentioned. And so, yeah, we usually just delete and remake it because it's usually not worth it to fight with them. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, with personalities and some of the folks that they've got a huge following and their tweets are going to go viral almost every time they post. If they've got something that is like a minor typo, I think they could benefit from it. But I do think like Sarah's comment about like how much of the tweet is like, would there be a limit to how much you can edit it? Because if it goes viral and then you're looking at like, how do you know what you're looking at is what originally went viral? That would be one of my concerns. And maybe they'll just maybe I missed this, but maybe it'll be similar to other profiles where you can see a little thing that says edited,
Mm-hmm.
very in light gray letters or something like that, where it's like, that something was adjusted.
Mm-hmm. That's what some of the screenshots, again, Alessandro Paluzzi having a banner week with all of this. Internet sleuthing is the one who found this. It's showing maybe edited underneath the username. Hopefully there'll be a notification. That's my piece, is that things that I'm sharing mostly on Twitter is news, is factual information for the few accounts that I tweet for. And if something gets changed in that tweet, I will want to know. I will want to know, because my clients are sort of that trusted source for information. And if things are edited, then that may influence our endorsement through a retweet.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that a lot of my clients would care, because a lot of them are using Twitter not necessarily to go viral. Like they're not the, huge personalities that are going to get retweets left and right.
Right.
And they just want to look professional, right? So for them, it's worth it to just delete and repost. But man, as a social media manager, the ability to just edit it is nice, because a lot of times clients will come back with adjustments and you're like, you've seen this for weeks and you're now coming back to me and saying you want
I
these
knew what you're going to
words
say. So
capitalized. Like
Yeah.
that's an adjustment I had yesterday with a client. And I'm like, that's to me a minor thing. It's not going to make or break it.
Right.
I'm not going to delete a Twitter post over you want certain initials of a word phrase capitalized. But if I can adjust it on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, I will, so.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. If
And
of on in is my biggest Twitter typo. It's that I and the O right next to each other on the keyboard. So
so
yeah.
one last thing I guess I would add to this is, just I think that they need to look at, for example, Facebook's, like, I know people aren't going to look at the history necessarily, but I think they could kind of bar that feature from Facebook, for example, to let people see what does that description previously look like. I also, I know we've talked about YouTube as well, but I also am kind of surprised that YouTube doesn't really have that functionality as well to show you, well, what was the description that was edited. Because again, I mean, it's the same process. You can always go back in and edit. So,
Mhm.
okay, Sarah, I know we got a lot more to talk
Yeah,
about.
we got a lot more. So we know that Valerie is a LinkedIn expert. So I want to jump, there's some Instagram news of Instagram trying out some features from Be Real and some other things that kind of sound like Snapchat to me. We can put that into our blog post, but let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn stickers that are coming. LinkedIn link stickers. Ran through that title a little bit too fast, right? So LinkedIn is launching the ability to add a link sticker. Anybody who uses Facebook and Instagram stories should be familiar with this. So you can add a link sticker to an image on your post. So let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn posts for those who may not have been using it that much lately. When you add a link to a LinkedIn post, LinkedIn will automatically publish, use the metadata from wherever that URL jumps out to and pull in the picture and the headline, right? So a lot of us do a cheat with LinkedIn and we use our own custom image if we don't like the image that the link is pulling in, and then put the link into the copy of the caption, right? And sometimes people don't read all the way through to find that link. So what I see this sticker as being great for is that you can put that link sticker over the image so that if someone doesn't click on see more, they don't jump down to see that that link to discover more information. So the discussion groups that I've been in, some people have sort of said, ho hum, what's the point of this? But I think it's a brilliant move. Yeah, it makes the image a little cluttered, but you can work through that with how you frame out your pictures or your graphics so that you know you're going to put a link sticker in there. I think it's great. And so I want to hear from Valerie, who uses LinkedIn a lot and speaks a lot about LinkedIn as well, what you think about this.
I mean, I'm really excited about it. I got to be honest, because I do that cheat, if you will, all the time. The featured image that's on a website is a lot of times not sized well for LinkedIn. It cuts off part of it. We have to doctor up and edit to bring in a nice image almost every time with a client stuff. And, it's an opportunity to be more strategic with what you're putting alongside the copy versus just going with whatever was connected to that web page. So yeah, having that link sticker and having that clickability you're eliminating a step for someone to click. They don't have to always click see more. And when people are scrolling quickly through a news feed, that's a big deal, especially because on LinkedIn, there's so many C-level and decision maker folks who are busy. That extra click over time, like that's a big deal for them. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be great. And I think to your point too, like just design the graphic with the link sticker in mind. Now it's obviously going to take a little bit to kind of get into that rhythm of things, but I think it's a great opportunity for people. And when I'm talking with folks about social media, like ROI, yes, we look at social media stats, but we also look at web traffic. And
Mhm.
so this is just another opportunity to bring more web traffic from a social media platform. And so anytime we can do that, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, I like this. The one thing I like that, thinking with the design from a design process, thinking about, where you're gonna place that sticker. I do wonder though, hopefully they can change the colors of these stickers a little bit. I
Not yet.
also, yeah, I know, but you
I
know what
wish
I
we
mean?
could
So
change the size a smidge. Can
Mhm.
yeah,
you do that?
well, I'm wondering if you could, it looks like you can rotate them and do some of that. Maybe this is version one, get it out
Yeah.
there. Um, but I do wonder also if, does this fit with LinkedIn's user base? Because they do look a little fun. They've got some rounded edges, things like that, and that's not necessarily something that, from a professional standpoint, that doesn't scream professionalism, I guess, to me. So
Well, LinkedIn is changing,
I know,
especially
I
over
know.
this last year. People are flocking to LinkedIn because they're fed up with some of the others.
Yeah.
And people are being more real on LinkedIn. I think that's really a reflection of the changes in corporate culture that we're seeing as well. And I think it's a really good asset. People are getting used to this graphic
Mhm.
on all the other social media platforms. And
Yeah.
so LinkedIn is trying it. If it doesn't work, LinkedIn is not afraid to just stop it. I mean,
Yeah.
remember LinkedIn
Stories.
stories? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's something that has potential to stick. As long as they don't, and maybe keeping it so you can't change the colors too much, or that the colors stay within certain hues, maybe. You're
Mhm.
not going to
Yeah.
have like maybe the bright pinks and
Right.
Right.
bright,
Oh, that's
bright
interesting.
neon oranges. It might be more subdued, like dark blues, dark green. Like there might be a certain color palette you can choose from, which would keep it more professional in nature. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it rolls out. But so much of the content that's shared on LinkedIn is clickable content. A lot of people reshare articles or their own articles that they've made, that I could see this being really powerful.
Mhm. Right. Right. And we have the visual cue now, right? There are some standard icons that we know across browsers, across social media platforms. It's kind of the standard, right? And I think there's something to be said for the stickers looking like each other. Right,
Yeah.
so that that little home button brings you home, right?
Mhm.
That little chain link, and
Mhm.
the the text and the colors and the rounded edges all remind you that, "Oh, that will bring me to a website."
And the other thing also, I guess, we talk about platforms copying one another. I mean, if you think about YouTube, YouTube doesn't do anything fancy. If somebody puts a link in, it pops up as a little eye. People are used to that standard, look of
Mhm.
things, so they know what's there or
Mhm.
kind of what to look for. So, I mean, I guess that does also, make sense to have a lot more standardization there. So we'll
Right,
see, but
right.
very good feature. So,
Yeah,
Sarah, where do we
yeah.
go from here? I know we got,
We've got a couple more, news items. I think we're gonna drop them in the blog post because we wanna have
yeah,
enough time to talk to Valerie. So, um, Meta this week announced improvements to their Blender bot, which is an AI chat bot. It's kind of funny. They talk about how empathetic and personal it is, and then they say it still is coming up with rude comments and inappropriate things that it's saying. So just be careful. So maybe put a pin in that. Wait for that to evolve a little bit more. And Clubhouse is testing private communities. This hasn't been rolled out widely, but I think one of the issues that some people have with Clubhouse is that it's just open to the entire world. So you can't really have those private conversations like you can in other audio spaces, or even, old school conference calls, Zoom meetings, right? So they are testing private communities, and it sounds like those communities can actually break off into sub communities as well. They're using some science terms, which is kind of fun. They're saying there will be mitosis for houses within Clubhouse as well. So We'll put all of that in the blog post that will come out over the weekend. And of course, link everything in the descriptions of our videos too. So, but let's get to questions for Valerie, because we're talking about all of these changes, and you run an agency where you work directly with clients and have to figure out what is the platform to focus on right now, with every platform trying to chase each other with different features and video and all of the things, right? How are you advising your clients on choosing platforms now, given really the everything being tossed up in the air this last year?
Well, I think it still comes down to some of the tried and true nature of the platform. Obviously, users are blending across all different platforms. It's becoming a little bit more of a baseline there. But if a client is very heavy in the B2B space, LinkedIn is a for sure. Honestly, I point most of my clients to LinkedIn these days regardless. And a lot of times we're talking about their personal profile more so than the company profile. LinkedIn right now is just still one of my favorite platforms for being able to get exposure, be able to make some traction, and to just grow that brand awareness. But, some of the other decision makers, I've seen Facebook kind of fade a little bit into the background in terms of a lot of folks, if we're still posting and doing some community building on Facebook, it's not the primary source, whereas it used to be. So I think there has been definitely a shift. Instagram's definitely becoming more of a powerhouse. But that's a hard one, because a lot of my clients are very heavy on wanting to point people back to content. And the linkability on Instagram obviously has gotten better, but it's just different than Facebook or Twitter or even LinkedIn have been. So, but I am seeing that LinkedIn, Instagram tend to be a little bit more appealing for B2B companies that are just wanting to build their authority. They want to be where the people are, and people are on Instagram, and people are on TikTok. I'm seeing more and more clients mentioning proactively that they want to be on TikTok. At this point, I still don't fully push it with a client if they don't suggest it first, mainly just because TikTok does require a little bit more from the client themselves. And if someone's coming to hire an agency to do the work for them, they may not necessarily be in a place where they're ready to get their feet dirty a little bit too. And platforms like TikTok do require that.
Right. Because as you said before, you are a done for you agency, right? You
Yeah.
actually produce content, post content, create strategy, evaluate what's working. So
Yeah.
with this video first, how are you managing this? How are you advising and coaching clients on video?
Well, first of all, I've become like a mini video editor. I
Haven't
tell
we
people,
all,
like,
right?
it's minimal. It's minimal. I'm not a videographer. I'm not a video producer. But I have had to like pick up those skills. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize, that over the years, like, social media managers have really had to, there's a lot of, copywriting, graphic design, video. You have to pick up a lot of different skills in order to produce quality social media content. You have to be paying attention to what's trending, and, so there's so many different hats you have to putting on the video hat a lot more these days. And video just simply has to be more affordable to produce. And so that simple, quick editing is becoming a lot more popular within the work that we're doing. That said, usually what we're doing is we are providing recommendations for types of video content that somebody could make. We're not necessarily producing it for them. I think that's part of the beauty of some of the shorts and some of this just video content at large, is that it's okay to be more casual. depending upon the type of business that they're in, they can be more buttoned up or they can go really fun and casual. You know, food lifestyle brand, like you can have some really fun video content. And so what we're doing is we're providing them prompts of, here's what you would make a video about, here's how long to make it, and here's a couple of talking points to get you started. Most people are in a sales position, or they talk about what they do at dinner parties or in the elevator or whatever. So they're very used to talking about their subject matter. And if you just give them a kind of a rundown of like, hey, these are 50 great topics or 50 great questions to answer in a video, they can usually talk for 30 to 60 seconds at a minimum. And so to get them to create some sort of short content is doable. Now, getting them to actually jump that hurdle and make the video content is another thing. So usually it's one of those things that as they provide content, we will work it into the strategy. But it is very dependent on the client creating the content. And if they're not comfortable with it, sometimes we do connect them up with like a local videographer, whether they're, nearby physically to where we're at, or if we need to find somebody that's close to them physically to come over and help them just record them. And I recommend busting out a bunch all at once. Get comfortable in front of the camera, bust out all your videos in one sitting, change your outfits a couple of times or whatever you need to do so that it looks like it was filmed on multiple days, but get it all batched and then send it over to someone like me, where we'll then figure out when we're going to drip it out on your TikTok channel, when we're going to, drip it out on Instagram. Is it going to go on both? Is it going to go just on one? Do we need to add any special filters or, stickers or anything else added to it to make it a little bit more fun and add some pizzazz?
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I like, I was making some notes here, and I like just the whole idea of, again, getting the subject matter in front of the camera, or, and getting them to talk about it, because that's where that passion is going to shine through.
Yeah.
They're going to know what phrases to use, for example, that are very relevant to people watching that video. You're going to see their energy. They're going to light up. And the other thing is that whole batching process. That is my favorite thing to do. That's a secret to getting ahead, by the way. If it's podcasting or, doing any sort of live streaming, do all of that content creation ahead of time. You will find, and I love the whole outfit change thing. I've done the same thing myself. So,
just a few little tweaks.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the, Sarah, it's the same example we've talked about taking photos, that you're going to use on social media. Take them throughout the year, for example. Maybe you took it last Christmas, but you want to bring it for this Christmas,
Yeah, I'm up to 28,000 photos on my phone.
Wow.
Because I take them three ways, right? If I see something that's really cool, either it can be texture, it can be seasonal, right? I will take it landscape, portrait, and square. And I've done that for years because the platforms keep changing.
Yeah.
And to your point, Valerie, about how people can talk, especially sales and marketing people, they can talk about their company. They have that excitement as part of their in-person persona. But as soon as you put that glass lens in front of them, it doesn't matter how big or how small the lens is, and you press record, they just lose it all.
Yeah.
So it's being comfortable. It's being comfortable with camera.
Those first few are like really rusty. And then after a few, they start to get comfortable. And so batching it is another great way. If you've got somebody who's not as natural on camera, to get some good content from them. First few are going to be garbage, but once they get in a groove, they're good to go.
And also don't forget, you could also potentially capture some good B-roll as well off of something like that. That's good behind the scenes content where the person's not necessarily looking at the camera, by the way, or maybe there's some flubs. You could include that in some of that content you're creating as well. So love all these tips. And, you're absolutely right about just the fact that over time, we, as a social media manager, had to take on so many more roles. And I like the fact that, you mentioned we're not necessarily doing the editing for people. We're giving them the prompts they need, the things that we know work. So in a way, you're doing the strategist side of things as well. So that's all super important.
It's just old. It's the basics of filmmaking too. It's just storyboarding. It's
Yeah.
storyboarding, talking points. It's all the public relations tricks that we use.
Script
It
writing.
all
Yeah.
applies. It all applies to this.
It all comes full circle, just like the mitosis and all those science terms.
Exactly.
It's all coming back to social media.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back. So, so before we go, we actually don't have an official tool of the week this week. But Valerie, we want to ask you, because you're using LinkedIn so much. We want to ask you, what are your favorite tools or changes that have happened on LinkedIn over the last year? Because there has been a lot since, I want to say, October. The last 10 months has just been a never-ending stream of new features.
Yeah, so you're making me go back a long ways, but the thing that's coming up to mind is just the LinkedIn newsletters. I've done them for clients for a long time, finally busted into them for myself, and it's amazing the amount of exposure you can get, and amazing the amount of like old connections that I would love to stay in front of who have subscribed. And they're not on my email list. They don't follow other social media platforms, but I have now this channel where they can directly get my updates and I can be strategic there. So yeah, if you're not doing the newsletter feature, I highly recommend it. It's been a great, easy thing to do.
And that's part of creator mode.
Yes.
Right. Within LinkedIn. So you have to change from regular LinkedIn to creator mode.
Very cool. Yeah, I gotta say the newsletter thing. I mean, I know Sarah, we've got some good friends. Doreen Moore Van Dam, who uses it as well, and she's seen a lot of success with that.
She's seen a lot. I mean, I use it too. I've only done one.
It's not. The thing too is that it doesn't require you to really change a lot about like how you process and create your own content, because most people have an email newsletter of some sort. So it's just a matter of like deciding, is that content going to be the exact same as what's on my email?
Yep.
Or am I going to tweak it? Which I learned when I saw who was subscribing to mine, that they do need to be slightly different, because I did have a lot of overlap. But I also had some people that were main.
Did we lose Valerie?
I think we did.
Oh, sorry. Hey guys.
That's okay. You're right.
I don't know what's going on. But yeah, just stop who's following you and keep tabs on that so you know what content to put where.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very cool. So Sarah, do we have any more new topics, or
we don't have any new? We'll put it all out in the blog, and we will link. We've talked about creator tools a few times, so we'll be sure to link that in the blog post so that people know what we're talking about when we talk about creator mode, and that's coming from newsletters. So yeah. Thank you, Valerie. Thanks you.
For having me.
So I just have one last question, Valerie, and that's where can people get in touch with you? Is it LinkedIn? Is it your website?
Yeah. I mean, both places, but yeah, if you look for Valerie Morris on LinkedIn, you'll find me. And then Tintero Creative, my company, you can always get in touch with me there. But yeah, LinkedIn's a great place to start. I will definitely respond on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. And Sarah, how about you?
So people can find me across social media at Sarah Monroe VT. I have a little more fun on Instagram than the other platforms. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, remember I do have creator mode activated. So you have to click on more. The drop down will show you connect and drop me a note. Let me know that you saw me on Social Chatter.
Sarah, I think we need to put a video together of how to do that.
I know. I'll do it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm Christian Kursevich. Again, if you want to get in touch with me as well, also on LinkedIn. Also tell me you saw us on Social Chatter. We get lots of requests all the time. And so it's always good to know where where people are finding us. But with that, we'll have the blog post recap. It'll go out over the weekend, socialchefs.com/SC350. Sorry. With that, we'll see you all on a future episode. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.